Have you ever tried to explain emotional abuse that you have been exposed to, only to be met with blank stares or disbelief? People don't get it. Only people who have experienced it themselves understand you. Other people can't see through a covert narcissist. If you say he's a narcissist, people will think of this loud, arrogant type. If the people personally know the covert narcissistic person you're talking about, it could be a partner, an ex-boyfriend, family member, or a colleague. They only see the nice guy, the guy that everyone loves, helpful, charming, even humble. But you know that behind closed doors, they gaslight, guilt trip, and manipulate. The abuse is very subtle, making you question if it's even real. It is domestic emotional abuse or psychological violence. The challenge is that emotional abuse leaves no visible scars, making it harder for others to recognize. People think abuse has to be physical, but words and manipulation can destroy a person, your self-worth, who you are, just as much. Emotional abuse is real, and just because you can't see the scars doesn't mean they don't exist. When you try to explain the abuse, it can sound overly sensitive or dramatic because the abuse is so psychological and insidious, which makes it very hard to explain. When I try to explain, people would typically say, "Oh, are you sure you're not overreacting? You are oversensitive," or "that's typical men." These kind of statements are judgmental and shows lack of acknowledgement of your emotions and damaging experiences on your mind. So here are some lines to say that might get people to think or understand you. So first, imagine who always play the victim, twist the truth, and makes you feel guilty for things you didn't do, while looking like the nicest person in the room. What would you think of that person? And second, if you gave me a black eye, you would believe me, right? Because it's a physical sign, but words, silence, and manipulation is just as violent for your mind, your soul, your body, your sanity. It is bruises or wounds you can't see. Have you heard of that before? And you can say, just because you can't see the domestic emotional abuse, it doesn't mean it's not real. It is real. I have experienced it, and I'm happy that I'm still sane. Many victims for this kind of abuse end up in depression or medication, drugs or alcohol, because they have been destroyed by the emotional and mental violence. So that's the reality of emotional abuse by a covert narcissist. If someone doesn't believe you, it doesn't mean your experience wasn't real. You don't need everyone to understand, only the right people will support you. Emotional abuse is real. If you have experienced it, you're not alone. Emotional abuse is abuse. It's not just toxic behavior, it's psychological manipulation. So healing starts when you recognize it and take your power back. If this helped, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And please comment below with how you explain covert narcissistic abuse. I would love to hear your thoughts.